Hello and welcome back to SweetSpotDFS. This is a review for the Waste Management Open, or Waste Management Phoenix Open. Sorry it's coming out a little late. It's Super Bowl Sunday, so I ended up watching that like many of us did. And I thought about making the video before it, but it went into a playoff between Tony Finau and Webb Simpson, where Webb ended up beating Tony with almost an identical putt he had to close out the tournament to get it into a playoff. But I didn't have enough time and just got swept up in the Super Bowl. So getting out a little late, but better late than never. Going back to the tournament, the golf tournament, I was kind of pulling for Tony Finau to win finally. His tribute to Kobe Bryant, I mean, I thought it was awesome. It was great. I thought he had it in him. One missed drive, or really a key drive on 17 where he put it into the bunker when he obviously can launch it over the bunker. Put him in a tough spot, and then he didn't want to get too cute with it, so he hit it on the green, but it was a long putt, made a par. And don't discredit Webb. Webb ended up making a birdie on that hole to get within one, and then birdied the last hole. So it was a well-deserved win for Webb. I was pulling for Tony though. But let's get ahead and get into this, the spreadsheet, just so we don't take too much time talking about this recap of the tournament. I always, every single week that I do a review, I go over the optimal lineup and the whatever the highest GPP, like entry fee, whatever the winning lineup is for that. And you can see them highlighted here in the light blue. That would be the optimal lineup, so I kind of put them together. Everything that has a little tick mark, that's the optimal lineup. So you can see the optimal lineup used $50,000, all $50,000 of salary cap. That's the first time I've ever seen it since tracking this information. But the $5 winning GPP lineup, $49,900. Usually the winning lineup is around $50,000. This is probably like week 4 or 5 in a row where it's, I'm going to pad the stats here and say in the last 5 weeks, the winning GPP lineup had 49,900 or more used salary. I know it's a cheeky way to do it, but it's true. Like, these winning lineups are using most of the salary. Like, there's nothing really being left on the table. And the optimal lineup, $50,000, shows you didn't want to leave anything on the table. But yeah, let's go through it. $5 GPP winning lineup is Webb Simpson, Tony Finau, Bubba Watson, Nate Lashley of all people, JB Holmes, Luke List. Is that 6? Yeah, that's 6. Your optimal lineup was Webb Simpson, Tony Finau, Bubba Watson, Nate Lashley. So the same 4, but then the other 2, instead of JB Holmes and Luke List, it would have been Max Homa and Scott Piercy. And the $5 GPP at the winning lineup had 630.5 points. The optimal lineup had 656. So it was really close. I mean, you had to have nearly the optimal lineup in order to take down that $5 GPP. So good on the winner. I mean, that's awesome. Let's go ahead, get right into the DK page. This is where we'll go over everything. I'm going to go ahead and delete that stuff because it's not relevant. And the first thing I'm going to go over is the bucket system. So what I had said, and actually here, let's pull it up. Here was my player pool criteria. Number 1 was shots gained approach plus birdie or better. That really wasn't relevant this week. Course history, yeah. Bentgrass, yep. And we'll go through that throughout the spreadsheet. But here, my bucket system, you're going to see points 4 and 5. We wanted 1 to 4 last year ones, and 1 to 3 of them being being a last year 1, last week 1. And then the 5th one was finding 1 to 3 golfers who fit the last year 2 criteria. And here we go. I'll go over it. Here's your last week or last year 1. This column here. And obviously you see, not last year 1, but your last year bucket score is right here. So we wanted 1 to 4 of them in our lineup. Well, you could have accomplished that, but the price to do it was nearly impossible. These golfers here equaled 37,600, It would have left you some room, like Adam Long. We would have need to find someone exactly $6,000, so this wouldn't have worked. It was doable, but okay, so it didn't quite work out. What you would have had to have done is sacrifice JT to put in Tony, and then obviously Nate Lashley and Max Homa. So that was the way to do it. I had said 1 to 4 last year ones with 1 to 3 last year one last week ones. Well, you can do that with Webb Simpson. I was all in on Webb Simpson and Justin Thomas. If you go back to the preview video, I said jam them in. And when we look at my ownership percentage, and actually I'll show you what the lineups look like. So I have them saved over here. You can see all the Justin Thomas lineups. Now this is, I basically put Justin Thomas all the way down nearly, okay, so there's 29 times there. Webb then followed down 11 times, but then I included Webb over here. So 11 plus 15, so 26 times I had Webb, and I bet I have him one more time. I want to say I do somewhere. Okay, I added another one down here. So 16, and I can go back to my roster construction lineup to see what the ownership was. I'm gonna go ahead and just, I don't have to do it here. These were my Kobe lineups. All of these guys said something about Kobe. And when we look at the DK page, these guys that are highlighted in purple, they paid homage to Kobe in one way or another. Tony wore the jersey, the number 8 jersey. Justin Thomas wore the number 24 jersey. Max Homa, no. Justin Thomas wore the Lower Merion, his high school jersey, number 33. Max Homa wore the 24 jersey. Of all the guys that I highlighted in purple, those are all your Kobe lineups, and you could have created a lineup that made all of them through the cut. Maybe you wouldn't have been able to afford it, so never mind. I don't think you could have. Could be wrong. Yeah, so that went over. So you can, I was thinking before making this video that you could have constructed a whole lineup of Kobe fans that made the cut, but you couldn't. So yeah, going back. Oh, I was gonna, that's right, talking about the lineup construction and the ownership. I wanted to show, like, I paired Webb and Justin Thomas up how many times? 15 times. And in 2 of them, I won a winner take all $50, one of those quarter games that you put in 25 cents for a winner take all for $50. I won 2 of them. So if you saw my Saturday post on Twitter, I won $200 from the Saturday Showdown slate, which what I did is just use the bucket system in accordance to the low round average on round 3. So I just looked at, I eyeballed it, and I only put one lineup in. It was a $1 lineup, made $200. I've been doing that lately, is going by the bucket score as well as the round average, but it's not a perfect perfect strategy, because this is the first time winning at least that much. I was really close to winning the whole thing. If it wasn't for a Rom bogey on 17, I would have. Or a birdie, if you would have birdied hole 18, that would have done it too. Anyways, yeah, 15 lineups that I had Justin Thomas and Webb Simpson together in. 2 of them ended up winning me $100 together. So it worked out. Jamming them in was a good choice. But going through all the rest of this, I'm sorry for keeping you so long talking about that. If we were to look, first off, I'm going through the starting holes. I mean, John Rahm you have here with JT. That's no surprise. And you don't have to play. Like, when I go through tee times, you don't have to play the guys together. You can just use as confidence, like, one of them's going to get boosted. Now, you could have played these 2 together, but you wouldn't have had a lot of salary to put anyone else. I mean, you could have put Lashley, Homa, Piercy, and probably Adam Long together. Let's go ahead and see if we can do that. Nope. It's 50,100. So maybe we don't get Max and we put in someone else. Well, whatever. It's I could go down to Hudson Swafford or Mark Hubbard. That would do the trick. But either way, my thought is you don't have to play them together. Like, obviously do it, but then use common sense and think to yourself, how many times I want these guys paired up together. If they don't finish 1-2 for their price, their win equity it's not getting matched. So you don't want to do that. I can see a couple more. Nate Lashley with Scott Piercy. Now pairing them up together obviously would have done wonders. I was not on Nate Lashley whatsoever. Scott Piercy, I played a couple of him, and a lot of it has to do just with he had a lot of the good stats that you were looking for, that you wanted. Yeah, I really don't see anyone else. At least I'm not gonna go too far into it. I'm not gonna talk about odds. You can obviously see odds. We talked about this during the preview. Typically, the best golfers here do well, and obviously your top 4 positions. I mean, Nate Lashley is included there too, so we have to include Nate Lashley. But 4 of the top 5 golfers for the tournament had 30-1 or better odds. This is the same thing that happened last year. We just didn't have a lot of these. We didn't have nearly this many golfers over 100-1, and it's really weird to see Scott Piercy 150-1. Hopefully, you guys took advantage of the each way on that, or top 8 or whatever, because that obviously would have paid pretty decent. Here's your official World Golf Rankings. I'm not going to go over it, but you can see it. Obviously, fantasy points per game and the value. I mean, Webb just keeps hitting his value, so definitely things to look at. We wanted some course history, at least decent, and as we look through this, one person didn't. That was Nate Lashley. Another guy had 85, which is a missed cut, so he missed the cut the year before. However, a missed cut for the year before was a 3, so you also had that with Tony Finau. 3s weren't bad. You wanted to play 3s sporadically, not a lot, but sporadically. Yeah, they were good fillers. I guess that's all I have to say about that. Recent form average, never really looked that far into it, but wanting some or just decent recent form average definitely helped. I'm gonna go ahead and hide this information and look at the Bentgrass. So there was a lot of discussion about whether these were bent, rye, Bermuda, whatever. I hope you guys understand now it's not Bermuda grass. It's not Bermuda. And in fact, if you just went by like Bentgrass Stats, just the average finishing position, the amount of times these golfers finished inside the top 10, even their 2020 Bentgrass stats, it all is proving that bent was a good indicator of golfers doing well at this golf course. I'm going to continue using bent going forward. I didn't see anything that would have indicated POA. The greens rolled pretty decent. They did get a little, I would say, well, they firmed up a lot. And I would say that's not really prevalent with bent grass greens, but I mean, you can always dry out any golf course to make it more difficult. POA, that's also not a thing you would get with POA. If you took last week's tournament, the Farmers Insurance Open, if you hit the greens, you would have saw they just stuck. That's pretty indicative of POA. Same for next week's tournament at AT&T Pebble Beach. You're gonna see the greens; they're just gonna hold all the balls. Like, it's just gonna make a pitch mark and basically land really close to its spin. You're gonna see a lot of spin. You didn't see that during this tournament because the greens were firm. They were hard. But yeah, Bentgrass, definitely a key trait for me, a key stat to look at. Definitely thought that was relevant. And again, I'm using it going forward. Hopefully you guys will too. Going to stats, now this is where I would say it didn't really work out the way we wanted, because 2019 was so prevalent with approach and birdie or better. Not so much this week. Obviously, our top 3, I mean, JT, Webb, and Finau, yeah, works out perfect. This indicates they're bottom of the field. This dark red color, that means it is the path, or the bottom 80, or I shouldn't say bottom 80. It is 80th place and beyond. So the last 50 golfers are in the stat. It's not very good. And we can look at approach, you know, orange. Actually, this light red is middle of the pack. So yeah, approach, you wanted to be above mid. Well, okay, sorry to keep using the same words over and over again, but you wanted to be above middle of the pack. And like, you know, birdie or better. It didn't work as well as we would have wanted it to. And there really isn't another stat that we could use that would indicate success for like Nate Lashley or Max Homa. They just kind of appeared out of nowhere. And that's why I always go back to the bucket score. Now, Max Homa was a 5. Nate Lashley was what? He was a 2. So you did want one of them. Nate Lashley wouldn't have been the golfer that I would have chose. I don't even think I may have played one lineup of him. That was it. And Max. So basically, going back to the notes page, you know, if we were to look at all of the combinations here from the last 6 years, you see just a wide range of different outcomes, right? So we see a 5 here in 2015. We see 1s, 2s, and 3s here. We don't see any 3s here. 2016 had a bunch of different things. 17 didn't really. 18, you had a 4 in there with a couple 3s. 19, you had a 4 and no 3s. So, you know, the 5, it's going to happen every once in a while. And it happened this year, which, you know, for those that played them, I mean, in 16% of the tournament's last 6 years, there's been at least, well, I shouldn't say 16%. In the last 6 years, I always have a hard time wording this stuff, and it bothers me. In the last 6 years, 16%, I should say a last year 5 has showed up 16% of the time, which is 1 out of 6, okay? Now there's been 2 out of 7. That's going to jump up to 28%. So this number will be 28 next year. And it's just one of those numbers. Like it's really not anything to like really, we might not even see a 5 next year. It's just, it happens, right? Sorry for going on with that. That was way longer than it needed to be. But yeah, it stayed true to the 1s and 2s. You wanted 1 to 4 1s. And that's why I don't really pull up stats all that often. I like to look at recent form and course history. And the bucket score, again, is your most recent course history stat and your most recent last tournament stat, which isn't true. It's just last week's stat, which is the most recent last week's stat. You know what I'm saying? And that's if they golf it or if they don't. That's what the score indicates. Same with here. So yeah, the system, I mean, the process worked for me. I put in a total of $22 and came out $305. So it's a pretty good ROI. I'm going to use some of that to play in a little bit higher stakes tournaments. Probably save some of it for the Masters and go all in on the Masters because that's an easier tournament to also predict like successes. But yeah, let's see. Ownership. That was the last thing I was going to talk about. I have my ownership over here, and what I'm going to do is just hide this for now because this I have formulas built into this to show me ownership over here. Just so you guys can see this. So 54 like paid contests. I had JT in 57% of them, so 31 of 54. I had Webb in 27. I did not lie in telling you guys jam in JT and Webb as much as you can. Did play a lot of Scotty Scheffler. I thought he was a good last year 2 candidate for finding the top 10. He missed the cut. But there you go. John Rahm, Byung-Hun An. I did play a lot of Varner because I was a sucker. Oh, wait a minute. This is not. There we go. Scheffler, Rahm. I played a lot of Hideki, Ben An. Scott Harrington got my attention. He was a really cheap $6,200 for decent stats. And he's from Arizona. I think this is one of his golf courses he usually golfs at or has golfed at. I don't remember. He did post something on Twitter saying this is going to be great for the hometown crowd or something like that. So Adam Hadwin, Sung Jae, Chesson helped me out on that Saturday lineup. Do well. He had a lot of birdies, and that's what he is. He makes a lot of birdies. Patrick Rogers always has my heart. Like, I enjoy playing him. He was doing really well at one point in time. Love Mark missed the cut. Fowler didn't do the greatest. I only played him at 12%. Kuchar came back, did pretty decent. I can't remember what his result was. I don't have it up here. Xander again, decent. Bubba. So Bubba was in my top 16. So I played a lot of Bubba, 11% I should say. And then it just goes down from there. Played a lot of Hubbard, which was helpful. Morikawa not so much because he didn't really fit that mold. He was a 2-4. So again, I go by these bucket stats. This is my shtick. So if I'm gonna stay true to it, I don't play that much. And you can see obviously I don't play anything that's 0% really. Mackenzie Hughes I did because he was a Kobe fan, and he was bare minimum. Helped me out on making some lineups. Yeah, other than that, all these are coming down to like 2 or 1. Yeah, it was successful. I was excited about how well I did. One of the more profitable weeks for me, and I thought it was good. I even said I thought this week was easy. So yeah, it helped out. Hopefully helped out for you guys. I'm gonna leave the show at that. 21 minutes, pretty decent. It's pretty standard, you know, for the review videos. Hopefully you guys did well, and I will see you during the preview video tomorrow. Thanks for watching.